More and more leather crafters are using Celtic art designs on their projects. They're doing it for their own use and enjoyment, or for gifts, or for resale. In this video program, we will show you how to carve Celtic weave patterns onto leather. One place to find a very nice variety of Celtic patterns is in this book called The Great Book of Celtic Patterns. There are also many Celtic designs available on Craft Aid plastic templates. I have chosen a piece of 6 to 7 ounce vegetable tanned leather because I'm just going to do a demonstration. Normally the thickness of leather we choose will depend on the project that we're making. So now I want to dampen this quite well and make sure I get enough water on there to penetrate rather deeply. Will depend on the temperature and humidity where you live as to how fast it will dry. So now we'll let this soak in for a few minutes until it begins to return to its natural color. Our leather is about ready for tracing. I have selected a 4-strand crossing weave, as you can see, and I will now trace this onto my leather. Now, I will be very careful as I'm tracing to not cross any of the lines. Please note, in this area here, we have this strand going on top of this strand. And it goes under this strand, comes around, over this strand, under this strand. So be very careful as you trace. When you're tracing a line like right here, you'll come up to where it crosses and we'll stop. Then we will continue to trace until we need the next one, and we will stop and continue to trace. It's very important to get your pattern traced properly. How deep do we trace? Just deep enough so that you can see it. You'll notice here now the few lines I've traced, it's real easy to see them. It's not necessary to trace any deeper than that. Just deep enough so that you can see it, and being very careful to trace the lines exactly as they came out of your book. Now we will continue to trace and from time to time check our progress. You'll notice I have taped my pattern at one end. This is so I can lift it and it'll always come back down exactly where it needs to be. It looks like we have everything traced, so now we can go on to the next step. Our next step will be the swivel knife cutting, and to do that I'm going to use a 3/8 inch straight blade. I prefer a ceramic blade because you never have to sharpen them, but however you should strop them on a piece of cardboard or thin leather that's been treated with jeweler's rouge. And now as we cut, we just cut as usual. We lean the knife forward, just get the tip of the blade into the leather and pull. Be very careful that you do not cut past where the lines cross. This is very important. It's probably a good idea to continue one strand all the way through the pattern and then come back and do another strand. Be very careful not to cut over where any of the other strands cross. Now we will pick up another strand, and I will cut that strand all the way through. Notice now this strand crosses over, so we can cut straight on through. Here we have to make sure that we stop right before that other strand crosses over. And as we did with the first one, we will continue this strand all the way through the length of our pattern, being very careful not to cut through any of the strands that cross over. As you're cutting and you come up where a line crosses over, it's okay to stop a little bit short, because we can always mash it down with our beveler later. When in doubt, stop a little bit short of the crossing line. And this is how our piece looks after we have completed the swivel knife cutting. When doing patterns that consists of weaves and knots, the most important tool that we will use is the beveler. In this case, I'm going to use two sizes of checkered bevelers. One is a rather wide B205, and the other one is a medium width called a B702. To do the beveling, we'll place the long edge of the tool in the cut, as you can see, and as I hit it, it causes it to go straight down and then taper off. Now, to get this stem to go over top of this stem, we will take our tool and we will tap it and walk it. And as you can see now, this one appears to go under this one. Now, if I bevel this one, you will see that it appears to flow on top of this one. Now let me take the other side of this. And you can see this goes under and goes on through. Now I can continue beveling on this one, and I'm causing it to stand up above the background. Now as I bevel here, this one appears to go under this one. And as you can see, our design is beginning to stand up above the leather, and we are now getting the weave to stand out, and we're getting the three-dimensional look. So we will continue beveling. Always use the largest beveler that you can. In this case, the larger of the two that I selected is working very well. If it were a smaller pattern, a smaller tool would work. Please note the nice color we're getting. This is due to several things. One, it is the proper moisture content. I'm also, if you'll notice, tooling on a piece of granite. A good hard surface is very good. It keeps the noise down and it gives you a much better impression. Please note that sometimes I pull the beveler toward myself and sometimes I push it away. This is up to you, whatever is the most comfortable for you and does the best job for you. This is the way that you should be doing it. This is how our piece looks after we have completed the beveling. Please note that it now stands out from the background and the weave is very, very visible due to us beveling on the proper side of the cuts.